What if one sentence could change the course of your entire life? Imagine waking up inside a freezing Roman palace. The torches dim the world still asleep, except for one man, the most powerful man on earth. Marcus Aurelius rises quietly long before the empire demands his strength. No servants, no ceremony, just a notebook and a private battle he must win within himself. He breathes in the cold morning air, opens his journal, and writes the same truth he used to endure betrayal. War and illness, a truth so powerful it has survived nearly 2,000 years. Your thoughts shape your destiny. For Marcus, this wasn't just philosophy. It was armor, his shield against fear, chaos, and the unbearable weight of ruling an empire. And today we're going to borrow that armor. Because the same words that kept an emperor unbroken may be exactly what you need to stay strong, focused, and unstoppable. So listen closely. Here are the 10 powerful things Marcus Aurelius whispered to himself every morning and how they can transform your life starting tomorrow. Part 1, I control my mind. It does not control me. Imagine waking up before the sun rises, before the noise of the world has a chance to pull your attention in every direction. This is how Marcus Aurelius began his morning, not as a ruler of the largest empire on earth, but as a man preparing for the greatest battle he would ever face, the battle inside his own mind. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And the truth is, most people never realize it. They open their eyes and immediately hand over control to their phone, their thoughts, their fears, and their impulses. One notification decides the tone of their day. One memory decides their mood. One anxious thought decides their level of peace. But Marcus discovered something different, something most of us forget. He understood that the quality of your thoughts becomes the quality of your life, that the mind is the first battleground, and if you lose there, you lose everywhere else. Picture him now standing in the cold Roman dawn, the palace silent, the empire asleep. He opens his journal, breathes deeply, and writes a single reminder to himself. I control my mind, it does not control me. He wrote it not because he had mastered it, but because he needed to practice it. And so do we. Take a breath with me right now. Inhale slowly, exhale gently. Now whisper to yourself, I control my mind. Feel how grounding that is. Neuroscience tells us the brain produces roughly 60,000 thoughts every single day. Up to 80% are negative or repetitive. If we don't take charge of our mind, those thoughts run automatically. They react instead of choose, fear instead of analyze, worry instead of act. But the Stoics, Marcus, Seneca, Epictetus, they all understood the power of stepping back and observing thought instead of being consumed by it. This ability is called metacognition, thinking about your thinking. It is the difference between saying, I am anxious, and saying, there is anxiety happening in my mind. One traps you, the other frees you. Marcus wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In other words, your mind is the painter, your life is the canvas, and every thought is a brushstroke. You choose the colors you use. Tomorrow morning, try this before you touch your phone. Sit up, breathe. Say today, I choose my thoughts. Then pick a single intention for the day: calm, discipline, gratitude, focus. This tiny ritual has been shown to increase clarity and productivity by nearly 30%. But more importantly, it reclaims sovereignty over your mind. Admiral William McRaven, one of the most respected military leaders of our time, said, the most important battle you will ever fight is the battle for your own mind. Marcus understood this long before modern science confirmed it. He wasn't powerful because he ruled Rome. He was powerful because he ruled himself. Say it with me once more. My mind is my tool. I am not its prisoner. Good. Let that sink in. Because if you can command your mind in the first few minutes of the morning, you can command your actions for the rest of the day. Your thoughts become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your character. And your character becomes your destiny. This is how Marcus Aurelius built an unshakable inner world, even as the real world around him fell into chaos. Before we move on, ask yourself this. If I truly controlled my mind today, how different could my life be? Now take a breath, because the next principle cuts even deeper. Marcus writes, I will not suffer imagined troubles. In part 2, we step into the world of fear, why your mind creates it, and how to stop letting anxiety steal the peace that belongs to you. Let's move forward. Part 2, I will not suffer imagine troubles. Imagine living through a world filled with threats, wars, political betrayal, disease, uncertainty, yet realizing that the greatest source of your suffering is not out there, but inside your own mind. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. Writing today, I will not let anxiety waste my life, and reminding himself that, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. It's not reality that hurts us most. It's the story we tell ourselves about reality. Picture Marcus walking slowly across the courtyard of his palace. The empire trembles around him, but what weighs on him most are not the events unfolding, but the possibilities. The shadows of what if. And so he stops, breathes, and tells himself, do not suffer, imagine troubles. Because he knew the truth, reality injures us once, but fear injures us 100 times. Take a slow breath with me now. In and out. Whisper, most of my fears are not real. Notice how your mind resists that truth because fear loves to stay in control. Modern research confirms what Marcus and Seneca already knew. Harvard studies reveal that 85% of our fears never happen. And of the small percentage that do, over 80% of people discover they handle the situation far better than they imagine. Meaning most suffering is self-created pain without event fear, without evidence, misery without cause. Seneca said we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And 2,000 years later, neuroscience agrees. So how do you stop this cycle? Use the reality check ritual. The next time fear appears, ask yourself, is this happening right now or only in my mind? What evidence do I have that this fear is real? And if the worst happened, what would I actually do? These questions shift the brain from panic to logic, from imagined danger to grounded clarity. Consider the ancient samurai. Before battle, they imagined the worst outcome, not to frighten themselves, but to free themselves from fear. If I can face death in my mind, they said I can face life with peace. This is exactly what Marcus practiced, removing fear's power by confronting it directly. Say this with me again, do not suffer, imagine troubles. Let it anchor you. Because when you refuse to fear your own thoughts, you reclaim your life. You take back your time, your energy, and your peace. Before we move on, ask yourself, how many fears have stolen days, months, or even years from me? Now take a breath, because part 3 takes us to one of Marcus's most powerful lessons. The reminder that obstacles are not the enemy, they are the way forward. Marcus wrote, the impediment to action advances action. In the next part, you'll learn how to turn every obstacle into strength. Part 3. Obstacles are opportunities. Every one of us eventually meets an obstacle so heavy it feels impossible to move. But Marcus Aurelius discovered a truth the world still struggles to grasp. The obstacle is not in your way. The obstacle is the way. He wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And this insight wasn't born in comfort. It was forged in chaos. Imagine Rome on the edge of collapse. Enemies crush the borders. A plague spreads through crowded streets. Political allies turn into traitors. Every morning another disaster arrives at the emperor's doorstep. Anyone else would see doom. But Marcus saw something different, an invitation. A chance to practice virtue, to grow stronger, to turn suffering into wisdom. He understood that life is not meant to be easy. Life is meant to reveal who you are. Take a breath now. Say quietly, the obstacle is the way. Feel how those words shift your perspective even slightly. Modern psychology confirms what Marcus lived. Studies from Stanford University show that people who view obstacles as challenges instead of threats have dramatically higher resilience, better problem-solving ability, and far lower stress. Your brain rewires itself based on the story you tell about your struggle. When you say, I'm doomed, your mind shuts down. But when you say, this is my training, your mind activates courage, creativity, and focus. The Stoic mindset literally changes your biology. Think of Thomas Edison. In 1914, his factory burned to the ground, destroying everything he had built. His son found him watching the flames. And with quiet clarity, Edison said, go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again. No despair, no panic, just opportunity. And the next day he began rebuilding. This is what it means to turn obstacles into fuel. If you want to train this mindset, try the good method borrowed from modern warrior Jocko Willink. When something goes wrong, simply say good. Didn't get the job, good now you grow. Failed your plan, good now you learn. Someone betrayed you, good now you know who to trust. Life got harder, good now you get stronger. It may feel strange at first, but it rewires your mind to see opportunity instead of defeat. Say it again with me. The obstacle is the way. Let it settle into your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius didn't become great in spite of obstacles. He became great because of them. Every challenge you face right now today is a chance to grow sharper, wiser, and stronger. Life will always put stones in your path, but stones can be stepped on. Stones can become stairs. Stones can build empires. Before we move on, ask yourself what obstacle in my life could become my greatest opportunity. Because next in part 4, we explore the art of mastering the only thing you truly control, your own mind. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." In the next chapter, your mind becomes the fortress no chaos can break through. Part 4, I will focus on what I can control. If obstacles reveal your strength, then control reveals your power. Marcus Aurelius understood that life becomes unbearable only when we try to control what was never ours. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Imagine him seated at a wooden desk while the empire collapses around him. Messengers bring news of war. Doctors report plague. Senators argue. Generals betray. The world is falling apart, yet the emperor remains calm. Why? Because he divides life into two simple categories, what he can control and what he cannot. He refuses to waste a single breath on the second. He focuses only on his thoughts, his character, his actions, and his responses. Everything else is noise. Take a breath with me now and whisper, "I focus only on what I can control." Feel how much lighter that feels. Modern psychology calls this the locus of control. People who focus on what they can influence experience better mental health, higher confidence, lower anxiety, and even longer life expectancy. They don't waste energy on gossip, weather, luck, politics, or other people's opinions. They direct their power inward, exactly where Marcus directed his. Epictetus taught some things are in our control, and some things are not. Seneca added, we suffer more from our reaction than from the event. And Marcus concluded, external things are not the problem. Your judgment about them is. 3 Stoic masters delivering one message: what you control is your weapon. What you cannot is your burden. Consider Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps. He lost everything external, family, health, freedom. But he discovered one truth that kept him alive. Everything can be taken from a man except the last freedom to choose his attitude in any given circumstance. This is Stoicism at its highest level. External chaos, internal control. To practice this in your own life, try the control list each morning. Write 2 columns. Column A, things I control today: my attitude, my effort, my focus, my discipline, my decisions. Column B, things I do not control: other people, the past, outcomes, opinions, delays. Then make a promise: I will give 0 energy to column B. This simple ritual can boost psychological clarity by more than 40%. Say it again with me: I control my mind. I control my actions. Nothing else. Let that truth harden into strength, because once you master this principle, the world loses its power to disturb you. A chaotic world cannot break a disciplined mind. Before we move on, ask yourself, what am I wasting energy on that I do not control? Because next in part 5, we enter the realm of emotion and learn how to master anger before anger masters you. Marcus wrote, don't let your emotions override your reason. In the next chapter, you will learn how to stay calm even when the world tries to provoke you. Part 5, I will not be ruled by anger. There is a moment, only a few seconds long, when anger rises inside you like a wave. Your heart races, your breath shortens, and your vision narrows. And in that brief moment, something dangerous happens. You lose yourself. Marcus Aurelius understood this better than anyone. He wrote, don't let your emotions override your reason, and the best revenge is to be unlike the one who harmed you. He knew that anger is not strength. Anger is a prison disguised as power. Imagine the Roman general Avidius Cassius, a man trusted by Marcus, respected by the army, and then he betrays the emperor by declaring himself ruler, while Marcus is still alive. The Senate demands revenge. His generals beg for blood. Advisors insist on retaliation. But Marcus Aurelius stays calm. He writes, "The anger of another is their problem, not mine." He refuses hatred, refuses rage, and prepares unbelievably to forgive Cassius. Because he understood a truth most people never learn. Anger punishes you long before it punishes anyone else. Take a slow breath with me and another. Whisper, "I will not be ruled by anger." Feel your body loosen. Modern neuroscience confirms what Marcus already lived. Anger can reduce your intelligence by up to 15 points. It weakens your judgment. It shortens your life. It increases your risk of heart disease by nearly 20%. It damages the frontal lobe, the part of your brain responsible for logic and self-control. Anger doesn't make you powerful. It makes you vulnerable. Seneca said anger is an acid that does more harm to the vessel that stores it than to anything on which it is poured. 2,000 years later, science agrees. One powerful study from Harvard reveals that surgeons who feel anger in the operating room fail more often. But those who pause for just 3 seconds before reacting perform vastly better. 3 seconds, that's the difference between chaos and mastery. So here is your Stoic exercise, the 3-second emperor rule. When anger rises, pause for 3 seconds. Breathe. Ask yourself, what would the wiser version of me do? And then choose action, not reaction. Behavioral research shows this reduces impulsive mistakes by almost 40%. Say it again. Anger is loud. Strength is quiet. Let that truth settle. Marcus Aurelius survived war, betrayal, disease, and overwhelming stress, not because he never felt anger, but because he never obeyed it. He knew that anger destroys clarity, destroys character, and destroys peace. But self-control builds an inner empire no one can invade. True power is calm. Before we move on, ask yourself, how many decisions in my life were wounded by anger? Because next in part 6, we enter the Stoic heart of renewal, the ability to practice gratitude even during hardship. Marcus wrote, "When you arise in the morning, remember what a privilege it is to be alive." The next chapter is the emotional turning point, from anger to appreciation, from chaos to peace. Part 6, I will practice gratitude. Even in hardship, gratitude is easy when life is gentle, but true gratitude, the kind Marcus Aurelius, practice comes alive when life is cold, unfair, and heavy. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." He didn't write these words from comfort. He wrote them from the heart of crisis, during war, during plague, during the darkest years of his rule. For Marcus, gratitude was not a feeling. It was a discipline, a weapon, a shield. Imagine him walking through a silent Roman street. The Antonine Plague has killed millions. Markets are empty. Houses are shuttered. Fear hangs in the air like smoke. Yet in the center of all this, Marcus writes, "Do not curse the things that happen. Use them." Even in the face of suffering, he asks, "What can I still be grateful for?" Because gratitude does not erase pain, it simply reminds you that pain is not the whole story. Take a slow breath with me. Whisper, "I will practice gratitude even in hardship." Feel the shift inside you. Modern neuroscience proves what Marcus instinctively understood. Gratitude literally changes the brain. It boosts happiness by up to 25%. It lowers stress hormones, strengthens the immune system, reduces anxiety and depression, helps you sleep better, and it rewires your brain toward optimism. Writing just one thing you're grateful for each morning can lift your emotional state for the entire day. Consider the soldier from World War II who was trapped behind enemy lines for 28 days. Every night he wrote one simple thing he was grateful for. The sky was clear. My boots stayed dry. I heard a bird sing. I'm still alive. When he was finally rescued, he said, "Gratitude kept my hope alive." Even the smallest thanks can create the greatest strength. Try this ritual tomorrow morning. Write down one good thing. Just one. It could be a breath, a warm drink, a quiet room, a sunrise, a memory, a lesson, a possibility. Research shows this increases emotional resilience by more than 30%. Gratitude is not for the lucky. Gratitude creates the lucky. Say it again. Gratitude is my strength. Let that truth settle in your mind. Marcus Aurelius faced hardship beyond imagination, but he kept returning to gratitude, Not because life was easy, but because gratitude made him strong enough to face life. Pain is real, but so is beauty. So is hope. So is the privilege of another breath. Gratitude is not an escape. It is a return to clarity, to peace, to your humanity. Before we continue, ask yourself, what is one thing I can be grateful for today? Because in part 7, we confront the truth. Most people spend their lives avoiding life is short, and that is exactly why it is precious. Next, we step into the stoic power of remembering your mortality and why it can make you unstoppable. Part 7, I will live today as if it were my last. There is a truth so powerful, so uncomfortable that most people spend their entire lives avoiding it. But Marcus Aurelius faced it every single morning. Memento mori, remember that you will die. Not to be afraid, but to wake up. Because when you remember that life is temporary, suddenly the unimportant things fall away, and what matters becomes clear. You begin to live with intention. Imagine Marcus in a dimly lit room, a single candle burning beside him. The flame flickers, fragile, temporary, just like a human life. He writes, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. He knew emperors die, warriors die, philosophers die. Death makes everyone equal, and because of that, life becomes meaningful. Take a slow breath. Whisper, life is short, so I will live fully. Feel yourself returning to the present. Modern psychology confirms what Marcus understood instinctively. Studies show that when people remember life is finite, they become more focused, more courageous, more grateful, more authentic. They stop wasting time. They stop delaying their dreams. They stop living on autopilot. A study from the University of Missouri found that mortality awareness dramatically increases self-control and life satisfaction. Look at Steve Jobs. He said that remembering he would die was the most powerful tool he used to make decisions. Almost everything, pride, fear, embarrassment, falls away in the face of death. Only what truly matters remains. And when he accepted his mortality, he created his greatest work. Death didn't weaken him, it sharpened him. This is Stoicism in action. Here is your practice each morning. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I'm about to spend it? If the answer is no, change something. Even one small decision. Call someone. Forgive someone. Start something. Tell the truth. Take the risk. Live. Memento mori is not about dying. It is about finally living. Say it again. This day is a gift. I will not waste it. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the world. Yet he lived as if each day were his last, because he knew the truth. You don't control how long you live, but you control how deeply you live. Every sunrise is borrowed time. Every breath is a miracle. Life is short, but that's what makes it precious. Before we move on, ask yourself, if today were my last day, what would truly matter? Because next in part 8, we explore the quiet strength that defines true greatness, the discipline you practice when no one is watching. Marcus wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In the next chapter, you will step into the world of private integrity, the invisible habits that build an unstoppable character. Part 8, I will be disciplined, even when unnoticed. There is a kind of strength the world never sees. No applause, no witnesses, no spotlight, and yet it is the foundation of every great life. Marcus Aurelius understood this more than anyone. He wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, not in public, not for praise, but in private, where your real character is formed. Imagine a massive marble hall in the Roman palace, silent, empty. Marcus Aurelius steps inside alone. No guards, no advisors, no audience. He kneels, places a scroll on the cold floor, and begins writing. These pages were never meant to be published. No one was ever supposed to read them. And yet they became meditations, one of the greatest philosophical works in human history, precisely because they were written in secret, in the quiet, in the unseen moments. That is where inner strength is forged. Take a breath with me and whisper, I will be disciplined even when unseen. Feel the weight of those words settle inside you. Psychologists call this intrinsic integrity, the ability to act according to your values without reward, praise, or recognition. Research from the University of Chicago shows that people who develop private discipline experience higher long-term happiness, stronger willpower, lower stress, better relationships, and greater success. Because discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about aligning yourself. Think of Kobe Bryant practicing alone at 4 a.m. in an empty gym. No cameras, no fans, no applause. He once said, "Your level of success is determined by your level of discipline and perseverance." The Stoics would have loved him. Here is your practice each morning. Make one small promise to yourself. Not 10, not 5, just one. I will read for 10 minutes. I will finish one task. I will not complain today. I will walk for 15 minutes. Then keep it, especially when no one knows. Because every time you keep a private promise, you strengthen the bond between who you are and who you want to become. Self-respect grows from the inside out. Say it again. Greatness happens in private. Marcus Aurelius commanded armies, ruled millions, and carried the weight of an empire, yet he held himself to the quiet discipline of writing, reflecting, and improving when no one was watching. Because true power does not come from controlling others. It comes from mastering yourself, doing the right thing in silence, choosing integrity over ease. That is where virtue begins. Before we move forward, ask yourself, what is one small promise I will keep today? Because in part 9, we dive into the Stoic core of character, choosing virtue over comfort, the principle that transforms ordinary people into legends. Prepare yourself. The real test begins in the next chapter. Part 9, I will choose virtue over comfort. Comfort feels good, but it quietly destroys potential. Virtue feels hard, but it quietly builds greatness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Just that you do the right thing, the rest does not matter." To the Stoics, virtue wasn't abstract. It was the core measurement of a meaningful life. Not wealth, not status, not applause, only character. Imagine Marcus Aurelius riding through a freezing rainstorm. His men are exhausted. His generals beg him to return to safety, but he refuses. He stays with his soldiers. He eats what they eat, sleeps where they sleep, endures what they endure. Not because it was comfortable, because it was right. Virtue means choosing principles over pleasure, duty, over ease, courage, over avoidance. Take a deep breath and whisper, "Virtue strengthens me. Comfort weakens me." Science now confirms what the Stoics taught. Comfort is addictive. It triggers dopamine cycles that increase procrastination, anxiety, and lack of purpose. But doing difficult things, choosing virtue, builds confidence, resilience, willpower, and long-term happiness. Psychologist Angela Duckworth said, "Effort builds skill, and skill builds confidence." Marcus would agree. Look at David Goggins, once overweight and depressed, who transformed his life through voluntary hardship. He said, "Comfort is a slow death. Why accept it?" Choosing difficult things turned him into a Navy SEAL, an ultra runner, a record breaker, a symbol of human resilience. Here is your practice each day. Choose one difficult but meaningful action, just one. Take a cold shower, have the hard conversation, say no to the easy distraction, finish the task you've avoided, wake up 15 minutes earlier, go for a run, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Every act of virtue strengthens your inner foundation. Repeat after me, comfort is temporary, virtue is forever. Marcus Aurelius lived with access to ultimate luxury, yet he chose simplicity, discipline, and integrity. He knew comfort softens the mind, but challenge sharpens the soul. The Stoics believed ease makes us weak, but virtue makes us unbreakable. Before we continue, ask yourself, what is one difficult, meaningful action I will take today? Because in the final part 10, we explore the ultimate Stoic superpower, calmness. The calm that carried Marcus through war, betrayal, and chaos. The calm that can carry you through anything. Prepare for the final transformation. Part 10, I will be calm because chaos is temporary. There is a rare kind of strength that does not shout, does not panic, does not break. It is the strength of stillness. And Marcus Aurelius mastered it in a world filled with storms. He lived through war, betrayal, famine, plague, political chaos, yet he remained calm. Not because life was easy, but because he understood a truth most people never discover. Chaos is temporary. Calm is a choice. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it." When you control your perception, you control your peace. Imagine Marcus Aurelius on the battlefield. Arrows fall, soldiers cry out, the earth shakes beneath the weight of armies. A messenger rushes to him, terrified emperor. We are surrounded, the flank is collapsing. Everyone panics, except Marcus. He stands still, breathes slowly, and replies, then we will simply do what we can. Nothing more. In that moment, his calm becomes the anchor for an entire army. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out, whisper, this moment will pass. Modern science confirms what Marcus knew. Calm lowers cortisol, sharpens decision-making, increases, creativity strengthens emotional regulation, boosts confidence, and improves physical health. Calm is not weakness. Calm is biological strength. A Harvard study in 2020 showed that 1 minute of slow breathing can reduce stress by up to 40%. 2,000 years before neuroscience, Marcus Aurelius learned this by observing his own mind. He wrote, nowhere you can go is more peaceful than within your own soul. Think of Captain Sullenberger losing both engines minutes after takeoff with 155 lives on board. No time, no options. Yet his voice remained steady, controlled, calm. He landed safely on the Hudson River. Everyone survived. He later said, calm is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. Marcus would have approved. Here is your practice whenever life overwhelms you. Follow the 3-second rule. Pause for 3 seconds. Take one slow breath. Say internally, this moment will pass. This tiny habit rewires your nervous system and restores clarity. Say it now, calm is my superpower. Marcus Aurelius faced storms mighty enough to break kingdoms, yet he remained unshaken, not because he avoided chaos, but because he chose to stay calm within it. You cannot stop life from being difficult, but you can stop difficulty from ruling you. Chaos is temporary. Stress is temporary. Fear is temporary. But calm, true practice calm is permanent. It is the anchor of a disciplined mind and the armor of a stoic soul. Ask yourself, how can I bring calm into my next challenge? Because if you remember only one thing from all 10 lessons, remember this. You are strongest when you are calm. Your stoic morning ritual is now complete. You are ready to step into the world, not as a prisoner of your thoughts, but as the ruler of them. When the emperor finished writing each morning, he didn't expect anyone to read his words. He wrote them for himself. Yet centuries later, those private thoughts are saving lives, rebuilding broken spirits, and helping strangers across the world find inner peace. Now it's your turn. Begin tomorrow with these 10 reminders. Armor your mind, shape your destiny, and just like Marcus Aurelius, lead yourself before you lead the world. If this message brought you clarity, then imagine what an entire community of Stoic thinkers could become together. Join the journey with us. Press like to support content that strengthens the mind. Press subscribe to Making Life Better to train your inner Stoic every week. Press share to help someone who's fighting their silent battle. And before you go, drop one word in the comments, calm. Let the world know you're choosing strength over chaos today. Let's build a stronger mind one sunrise at a time.